Hello friends, how are you? I know it's been a long time since I did a video recording and posted a video on my YouTube channel, Giant on Cloud. Well, I've got a few things to share with you, right? Two exciting news. One, this happened. Yes, this happened on the 1st December 2022. What you're saying is right. So I've been awarded the Microsoft Most Valuable Professional on December 1st, 2022 under the hybrid cloud umbrella. Super excited to share that news with you. And the second news is that I'm no more in Bangalore, India. Yes, that's right too. So I recently relocated from Bangalore to Sydney, Australia, and this happened on February 23rd. So I landed in the country on February 23rd. So going forward, all my videos are going to be based out of Sydney studio here. Okay. But also, I think one of the reasons why it took me so long to record a video here is I was waiting for this, my studio to arrive as well. It was in the ship. I only happened to get these, the studio gear about 15 days back. So I'm all set up now. I should start streaming more and more videos going forward. Now, so what's up in this episode? Now, I'm not sure how many of you tuned into the Dell Technologies World 2023. So we're going to look into what are some of the announcements that Dell did in Dell Technologies World 2023, mostly focused on the multi-cloud. I know it's no more a buzzword, it's actually a reality now. But we're going to look at some of the announcements that happened in Dell Technologies World 2023. All right, so without further ado, let's get cracking. Wow, look at the stage. It looks so beautiful, isn't it? I wish I was there. Unfortunately, I couldn't make it this time, but hopefully next year. Now, before we delve into some of the announcements that were made at Dell Technologies World, it's important to understand what are some of the customers and organizations' expectations today, which means they want to consume their applications and data in a modern way, just like they consume it in public cloud, which means simplicity and agility are really at the core of the modern consumption. So they want to be able to take advantage of the deploying cloud operating principles anywhere, which could be in core, edge locations, it doesn't matter, or in public cloud. They want to have a similar operating principles. At the same time, they want to be able to, quickly adapt to changes and stay relevant and competitive in the market for any there are new opportunities that are emerging. So agility is most important. Like, it kind of goes hand in hand with simplicity as well. So while customers are trying to simplify or bring the cloud operating principles and also achieve agility while doing so, at the same time they also want to take control of their data assets and application assets, irrespective of where they reside. They want to minimize the risk, maximize performance on their own terms. So just because, just by wishing to, saying that, I want a modern consumption model is not going to help, right? So the biggest challenges that most customers have today, especially modernizing some of the on-premises infrastructure and achieving the modern consumption method, is that most of the infrastructure is completely outdated. That means they're not able to meet or stay relevant in the modern consumption model, which is the cloud operating principles. So those infrastructure have to be modernized as well. So modernizing the cloud, bringing the cloud on premises, and the way you consume, they literally go hand in hand. Now, before we go into any of those announcements, right, let's try and understand what is multi-cloud and what is hybrid cloud. Now, if customers today are deploying their applications and data in all of the public clouds, for example, there are a number of public clouds like AWS, Azure, GCP, and so on. It is a reality today, right? Every organizations have different applications and data that are deployed in various public clouds, and that's how they're consuming today. Let's not forget there is also private cloud, which is also part of the way that their customers are consuming applications and data. So if the data and application is kind of distributed across these ecosystem, that's called a multi-cloud. Now let's say, for instance, if the customer is trying to extend a one particular hyperscaler, it could be one particular public cloud, to on-premises using their same APIs and same operating principles, and that's the hybrid cloud. So for example, in case of GCP, they have Anthos, which brings the GCP operating procedures to on-premises, and Azure has the Azure Stack HCI, which we have spoken about a number of times. So what's not here is also AWS Outpost. But in a nutshell, multi-cloud is a cross ecosystem, while hybrid cloud is single ecosystem, which is extended. Okay, so let's try and understand why are we even announcing so many different products under the multi-cloud, right? We spoke to a number of organizations and also directly to some of the customers who are actually running the multi-cloud environment, and they bring out some of the key management complexities of managing this multi-cloud. One of the things is the overall management complexity. Now, according to Forrester research, the number one obstacle is the complexity that is associated when managing the data across these multiple environments. There are silos are created, which make it really, really hard to kind of cohesively manage this data. And also they have very limited multi-cloud visibility, which means it makes it really hard for them to get a holistic view of where their data is living, what is happening to their data, and it can also lead to some of the security and compliance challenges as well. The other thing that most customers told us is the unpredictable cloud costs. Now, as it is, there are close to about 30% cloud costs are being wasted, and they're really apprehensive about multiple clouds, and you're trying to look at the cloud cost as well, which can be really, really unpredictable. And many customers have also told the skill gaps are becoming a major concern, especially when it comes to managing these separate clouds. So because each of these clouds will require new tools, new frameworks, and it's so difficult to master each of these environments. So resulting in which some of the developers' velocity is very, very negatively impacted, right? Because they have to master so many different tooling, so many different coming out of so many different public clouds and so on. So this is hindering developer progress as well and innovation. And finally, there's also a lack of consistency, right? So there is each of these ecosystems have to be managed separately, and there is no consistency across these public clouds, especially when it comes to security models or even compliance obligations. So these are some of the things which we have discussed with customers, and customers have been very, very vocal about some of the challenges which they had while managing multi-cloud. All right, now last year we actually announced the concept of multi-cloud by design. This is basically to address some of the challenges our customers are facing while they're managing their multi-cloud environments. So this year, we're actually delivering on that particular promise through our Apex offerings. It's kind of a tongue twister, but I'll see if I can get it right. It's called the ground to cloud strategy and cloud to ground strategy. Okay, I know it's a tongue twister. But so as part of the Apex, ground to cloud, we are bringing our, Apex storage portfolio into public cloud. So we have a lot of our customers today who are using our enterprise class storage on premises. We are trying to extend that into various public cloud as well. Now, as part of the ground to cloud, we have announced something known as Apex Cloud platforms. So through our Apex Cloud platforms, our vision is to basically provide our customers with the freedom to seamlessly run their workloads wherever their business needs could dictate. For example, not necessarily being constrained by a technology of their choice, right? Our multi-cloud by design, like I said, the approach basically includes a cloud to ground strategy, which actually integrates the cloud stacks and the Kubernetes, orchestration software on Dell platforms. So this will allow our customers to not just extend, but also optimize the cloud experience of these cloud stacks, even to data centers. It could be data centers, it could be co-location, or it could be edge environments, anywhere. So that's our two broad portfolio that we are trying to announce. So in the next few slides, we will delve deeper into each of these strategies as part of ground to cloud and cloud to ground. All right, now let's look at some of the announcements as part of ground to cloud. We're announcing the Apex Navigator for multi-cloud storage, Apex Navigator for Kubernetes, and the Apex Block Storage for AWS and Microsoft Azure, Apex File Storage for AWS, and also the existing Apex Protection Storage for public cloud. So in the next few slides, we'll look at what each of these announcements are. Now, the Apex Protection Storage for public cloud, it's just been rebranded because it is already available today as Data Protection Storage for public cloud. So today, if you look at it, right, so it is delivering the industry leading data protection storage for pretty much all of the public clouds that you have today, including Alibaba. The benefits that customers have today is the ability to quickly go and deploy directly from public cloud marketplace of their choice. For example, they can go to any public cloud and deploy the protection storage for the public cloud, the Dell protection storage for public cloud. It also enables the users to maintain total control and also ensure the immutability, and it supports a broad ecosystem of backup applications and so on, right? So I think that's also one of the other benefits. The best part about this is its scalability. It can scale up to about 256 terabytes per a single instance, and it offers the same experience that customers have in cloud as well as on premises. So that's the power that we are trying to give customers in a true multi-cloud situation. Now, and also with the data protection, with the ability to replicate the data between cloud and on-prem, or between two public clouds if the customer is already using those two public clouds, for example, AWS and Azure. The Apex Cloud protection storage provides that simple confidence which customers will have that their data is protected and is available with security. Right? Not just security, we also provide that security, flexibility, efficiency, as one would expect, just like in public cloud, right? So we kind of trying to combine everything that customers are already using today, this particular software on premises, but extend that capability into public cloud of customer's choice. The bottom line, what we are saying is, the reason why we have so much confidence in our protection storage is because of the number of customers that are using this. Close to about 1,700 customers, trust Dell technologies when it comes to protection of their data. The Apex Protection Storage not just does a bunch of things that I explained, but it also enables our customers to run a software-defined version of the industry-leading a protection storage that they completely trust and directly deployed in public cloud without additional IT skilling or staffing or training you name it, right? So that's the consistency that we are trying to build or bring to customers who are trying to protect their IT assets irrespective of where that data resides. Okay, so let's try and understand what is Apex block storage for AWS and Azure. Now, the Apex block storage, which we are making it available for AWS and Microsoft Azure, is actually nothing but the Dell's highly available, scalable, resilient, high performance, software defined block storage, which is powered by, if you already know, the PowerFlex. That we are making it available in public cloud. Now, it is worth mentioning that actually this, the software-defined Dell storage, which is also called the SDS, which is software-defined storage, is part of the Gartner MQ for primary storage, in which Gartner has actually recognized Dell Technologies as the leader. Now, the Apex block storage, we are making it available for both AWS and Azure, so that our customers in AWS and Azure or on-premises customers who are already using the Dell block storage using PowerFlex have the same experience and the same benefits of that enterprise class storage services, even in the public cloud. For example, public cloud of their choice. It could be AWS or Azure. So this is something that we are trying to bring. Now, the other question is, why would somebody want to do that, right? Let's try and understand what are some of the benefits of using the Apex block storage in either of these public cloud, either of these public clouds. So one of the biggest benefits of using the Dell software-defined storage is its extreme performance and scalability at a very, very less cost. In fact, what we have seen is when you aggregate the shared storage resources, it can achieve close to about 300% more performance IOPS per dollar when you actually compare it with any native storage services that are available in either of the public clouds. And the scale out, the architecture which we have designed, which is a scale out software-defined architecture, which is powered by PowerFlex, which allows for rapid expansion of both the performance and capacity, also maintains the low latency. Now, so the other important parameter is the flexible deployment model, which this particular product offers. That means it provides that option to optimize the cost and also the performance based on the workload requirement, using which you can achieve the best total cost of ownership, right? So the other thing that I want to talk about as part of the flexible deployments is that it can actually be deployed in AWS, for instance. It can be deployed either in a EBS, which is called the Elastic Block Storage, or it can be installed on EC2 instance as well, which basically your EC2 instances can store for more performance optimized workloads if there is a more performance needs for your EC2 instances. And the same flexibility, it exists in public Azure as well. So which means this software-defined storage can be deployed either in an Azure managed disk or which basically on the instances with a native attached NVMe SSDs, because you can have NVMEs or SSDs in this particular product to basically achieve performance optimized workloads. Now, the other important factors as to why customers may want to do this, right? They may have standardized this Dell software-defined storage already on premises. Now, what they want to do is they want to get that seamless data mobility. They want to achieve seamless data mobility between on-premises or the cloud options of their choice. In this case, it could be between on-prem to AWS or on-prem to public cloud, or between AWS to Azure, right? So this is something that they'll be able to achieve without having to refactor your storage architecture, because it's all the same storage APIs which customers are going to be using across these distributed IT assets, on premises, edge locations, public Azure, or public AWS. It doesn't matter, because we provide that same APIs, the storage APIs, across these distributed ecosystems. Um, and the last benefit, but not the least, is the multi-availability zone durability, right? So today, if you look at, for example, Azure, it has multiple zones, right? Multiple zones within the data center regions. Now, with the Apex block storage that we are announcing, we will have that unique ability for our customers to spread the data across these availability zones, right? Which will ensure obviously high availability without the use of replication across these availability zones. So this capability, something to note is that it's not available in AWS natively today. Although Azure can actually do something similar, but the user is limited to the volume capacity and performance, let's say when compared with Apex block storage on Azure. So these are some of the benefits, and also the bullets that we think customers will be of great will achieve great value, especially when their data is distributed across these multi-cloud ecosystems. And so bringing the power of our storage, block storage, the Dell's block storage for all of these public clouds, we feel that customers are going to reap huge benefits, and not just the control of their data, but also from a cost standpoint. All right, now Apex file storage for AWS. Now we are telling the same story that we told for block storage, even on the file storage side as well. Now this is only available for AWS, for your information. Now, so what is Apex file storage for AWS? So the Apex file storage is actually powered by the PowerScale, which is also called OneFS, which is today one of the leading and the most recognized file storage solutions out there, with as many as close to about 17,000 global customer base. It is today the number one NAS solution according to IDC, and also Dell Technologies is also in the Gartner Magic Quadrant, also the leader in the Gartner Magic Quadrant for distributed file and object for close to 7 years. Okay, so this is according to IDC, by the way. So what this does is actually with OneFS, powered by OneFS, what we're trying to do is we provide the seamless performance capabilities with up to 4.3 times better performance than our closest competitor. The Apex file storage for AWS delivers that file storage leading class performance in the public cloud, right? That's exactly what we are trying to do. So if my numbers are right, it's close to about 10 gigabytes per second streaming reads, okay, or 4 gigabytes per second streaming writes is something that we can provide today in the enterprise class file storage, which is powered by PowerScale OneFS. Now, so let's look at some of the benefits, right? So what are the benefits of what are the benefits that our customers will achieve adopting deploying or deploying the Apex file storage for AWS, right? This will help them because they've already zeroed in on because there is PowerStore OneFS. PowerScale OneFS already has a huge install base, and most of our customers are already using this file storage on premises. So what they can do is it will facilitate this seamless data mobility between on-prem and AWS, right? With native replication, without need of refactoring your storage architecture and so on. And secondly, they'll also be able to take advantage of the same enterprise class features that are built in for security, right? And also, they can streamline the operations and reduce the management complexity with obviously consistent user experience on-prem and in AWS. So it's the same OneFS file system which they will consume. So the user experience and the storage APIs are going to be absolutely similar. They can manage both on-premises OneFS and in the Apex Cloud, Apex file storage in AWS seamlessly, right? Um, and the other benefit that customers will get is be able to seamlessly scale capacity on demand. In fact, it's one of the best scalable solutions, right? That's also one of the reasons why so many customers today, or so many install bases we have today globally, right? The ability to scale capacity on demand in a single namespace. You can start anywhere between 24 terabyte up to, you can go up to 1 petabyte file data per single cluster. Okay, so that's the power that we are trying to bring into the AWS file storage. So once customers have deployed the OneFS, one of the few of the benefits that they can really reap from this is basically customers can actually retire some of the committed cloud spends to actually cut costs, right? Which they're already spending in public cloud. They can completely retire some of those committed cloud spends, and by adopting the Apex file storage for AWS. And also, they will be able to leverage the performance and the cost choices with AWS instance options to achieve better TCO, right? Now, so we have a number of use cases that this particular product that we feel fits in really nicely. Typical hybrid cloud use cases: you can move your file workflows across these two ecosystems, AWS and on-prem, without having to refactor your storage architecture. Or let's say, for example, use features like snapshot and sync IQ to natively replicate to cloud, and use the same multi-protocol data services that's available in Azure that you can use it on-prem, right? So powerful, right? The other feature that we, and also not to mention about, it's really ideal for all the traditional workloads, such as, for example, archiving, backup, file shares, directory services, videos, and so many other things, right? These things that we feel are a perfect fit, especially in a hybrid kind of a use case. We also feel that customers will also use this, to their benefit in a cloud burst situation. For example, use the same scale out architecture to support any leading file performance up to 10 GB per second, which we already have, which is the best performance throughput across these ecosystems, right? And you can also leverage the AWS services, right, to accelerate the outcomes and the control costs. So that's the power that we are trying to bring in, right? The storage performance that's available on premises, the enterprise file storage that's available on prem, make it extend this to AWS. Use your AWS services to use these file services as well, and manage the data between on-prem and public cloud in a true hybrid fashion. Or if your application demands cloud burst situations, I mean, the use cases can be so many, right? It really depends on how customers really want to kind of use this. I think these are some of the things that we feel it's going to really power, especially the Apex file storage for AWS, is going to make customers' overall management of their data as seamless as they can between public cloud and on-prem. So in the last couple of slides, we looked at Dell's innovation that we are trying to bring in terms of the Dell storage capabilities into some of the public clouds, which is namely AWS and Azure. But let's look at let's look at how we are trying to simplify the overall management experience across these various options that we are trying to bring in with the Apex Navigator for multi-cloud storage. Now, the Apex Navigator for multi-cloud storage is a simple SaaS-based management portal that's actually inside the Apex console. So the experience that we're trying to provide to customers while they're trying to manage the storage across these ecosystems is simple, secure. The storage software management, when it is spanning across the multiple storage types that are deployed in different public clouds. So all of which is going to be centrally accessible and managed well within Apex console. So from a customer standpoint, the Apex Navigator for multi-cloud storage can bring in a centralized Dell storage software deployment and lifecycle management across these multiple public cloud ecosystems, which also includes, like, for example, the configuration, the automated provisioning of storage across these public clouds. The best part is it just requires about 3 to 4 steps, right? So within that, you are pretty much done centrally managing the overall deployment and lifecycle management. Now, the other goal of the Apex Navigator for multi-cloud storage is also to drive that data mobility between on-premises and multiple public clouds to meet that shifting cloud strategies which many organizations are hopping onto. And then since it's the same storage, so the API first architecture, it's the same storage across these multiple ecosystems. So customers can drive this first architecture, API first architecture, which makes it very, very easy for customers to integrate and integrate with any popular automation tools, like, for example, Ansible or Terraform, to actually accelerate the productivity. And not just that, they can kind of zero in on the Dell storage software across these multiple ecosystems. And then customers can also take decisive action with intelligent insights, comprehensive monitoring across these entire Dell storage storage estates. And not just that, they can track their licensing, inventory, system health, performance, capacity, and the best part is all of which have all of these will have Cloud IQ integration as well. And then last but not the least, accelerate this zero trust adoption, right? With role-based access control, single sign-on, federated identity, all incorporating zero trust principles. Now, so that's how we are actually expecting customers who can actually easily provision and manage your public cloud storage across these multiple ecosystems, right from a simple SaaS-based management portal inside an Apex console. All right, so now it's not a secret anymore that modern application adoption is on a rapid rise. So rapidly, we are seeing customers are accelerating, new application adoption among all enterprises of pretty much all sizes, right? And some of the challenges that comes with it while they're trying to accelerate, application modernization is the complexity of managing these persistent storage requirements, especially given that they're operating at scale. Now, this is where the Apex Navigator for Kubernetes really shines here. Now, so so let's try and understand what is Apex Navigator for Kubernetes. The Apex Navigator for Kubernetes is a SaaS-based portal that's available inside an Apex console. It gives the unified user experience for customers to simplify their Kubernetes persistence management across the multi-cloud ecosystem or even multi-site environments. So now, if you compare the Apex Navigator for Kubernetes with Apex Navigator for multi-cloud storage, now in case of the one that we talked about previously in my previous slide, the Apex Navigator for multi-cloud storage offering is purely focused on provisioning and managing the Dell block storage, the file storage, and also the data protection across the clouds, right? Whereas the Apex Navigator for Kubernetes focuses on application. It's mostly the application-centric tools with advanced data services, which can actually manage these persistent storage, persistent storage requirements, around these Kubernetes containers, such as application mobility, replication, authorization, and so on and so forth. And also, the purpose of the Apex Navigator for Kubernetes is also to streamline the overall deployment, operation, and management of Dell container storage modules, which is called the CSMs, at scale across our customers who are actually in multi-cloud Kubernetes environment. So this will help customers improve their productivity through automated workflows. Not just that, it also allows the DevOps team members to actually work more efficiently, prepare their DevOps pipelines much better, regulate them in a much more efficient manner. The containers storage modules, which are the CSMs, are integrated into the Apex Navigator for Kubernetes, right? Pretty much. So today we have a number of our storage offerings that we have rolled out in the market have the container storage modules that we have built, so that gets integrated into your Kubernetes architecture. So what we have done is, we have also made this available into the Apex Navigator as well. So from a management perspective, the Apex Navigator for Kubernetes will provide, it's an intuitive single pane of glass kind of an experience that will allow our IT and DevOps team to actually go discover their clusters and key Kubernetes resources, deploy the Dell container storage modules across their entire Kubernetes landscape, and manage these Kubernetes environments across these cloud and on-prem ecosystems, and monitor their Kubernetes storage resources, which will allow them to rapidly resolve issues before they impact the production environment. So those are some of the management experience that Apex Navigator for Kubernetes brings in. Now, so from a Kubernetes enterprise storage perspective, and also for the DevOps team members experience, so what they can do, especially from a storage perspective, especially for storage admins and DevOps teams, they will be able to do operations that they have a lot of challenges, especially doing some of the cloning and all of that, right? So all of this can be done in conjunction with the Dell CSM storage modules. They can actually clone the stateful application workloads. They replicate the volumes for data protection and DR planning, authorization, recover, the automation, detection and recovery of node failures, protection, monitoring, encryption, all of these things that they can provide from a storage perspective, that they can do with the Apex Navigator for Kubernetes. So in a nutshell, right? So if you look at what are some of the goals of this particular product, is let's look at some of the benefits that actually helps our customers managing Kubernetes environment from a multi-cloud standpoint. So the Apex Navigator for Kubernetes will deliver the automated workflows, not only to benefit the DevOps team members, but also engineers. For example, the site reliability engineers, platform engineers, storage admins, and so on. And also the Apex Navigator for Kubernetes will also reduce the overall administrative challenges for these team members because it uses some of the automation, a centralized interface to expedite the tasks, which can be sometimes very manual, repetitive, and oftentimes have no value at all. So this is something that our Navigator from a central management console with the automation can bring in. So remember, it's very important, all the different roles that I mentioned in the organization, especially managing the Kubernetes environment. All these team members play a significant role in the success of Kubernetes implementation. So especially as a multi-cluster, multi-cloud environments at scale, when we're talking about all of this at scale, the Apex Navigator for Kubernetes will ensure the alignment across various stakeholders, and provides that clear and a concise view into a cross-sectional environmental and multi-ecosystem management. So I think that's a key takeaway for me from what's in it that Apex Navigator for Kubernetes offers to multi-cloud customers today, especially in the application modernization journey with Kubernetes and containers. All right, switching gears now. So until now, we spoke about the ground to cloud offerings. So we discussed about the various various storage options that were making it available for public cloud, which as part of the ground to cloud strategy. We also discussed about the Apex Navigator for multi-cloud storage as to how to manage these various storage options that we have announced from a multi-cloud perspective using the Apex Cloud Navigator for multi-cloud. And we also discussed especially customers who are adopting the application modernization journey, especially in a multi-cloud situation, how to manage their multi-clusters, Kubernetes kind of environment through our Apex Cloud Navigator for Kubernetes as well. Now, as part of the next story, which is the cloud to ground story, let's look at some of the options that we have today, that we're announcing from a cloud to ground strategy perspective. So we're announcing the Apex Cloud platform for Microsoft Azure, the Apex Cloud platform for Red Hat OpenShift, and also the Apex Cloud platform for VMware. Now, before we delve into each of these things, it's important to understand today we already have some of the built-in solutions which are kind of validated solutions which are already available today for all of these technology vertical stacks. Now, if you look at Red Hat OpenShift, we have validated platforms for Red Hat OpenShift. We have the integrated nodes for the Azure Stack HCI for Microsoft Azure, and obviously the completely turnkey solution that we have built for VMware through VxRail across the data center and edge and also public cloud. So what is the difference, right? So what's the difference between the in-market and the next generation Apex Cloud platforms? So if you look at the in-market ones, if I just quickly go back to the previous slide, each of them had a purpose-built hardware for each of the technology stacks that we're talking about. For example, Red Hat OpenShift had their own set of hardware, purpose-built hardware that was validated for Red Hat OpenShift. And likewise, we had the AX nodes, which was purpose-built for the Azure Stack HCI from a Microsoft Azure perspective. And obviously VxRail, which is a purpose-built turnkey solution for VMware. So as you can see, there was no option for a customer to, let's say, for example, mix and match these different vertical stacks of their choice, because they had to pretty much, completely get rid of the existing hardware if they ever plan to move across these different vertical stacks. So what we are trying to do with the Apex Cloud platforms for Apex Cloud platforms as part of the cloud to ground strategy is to build that common building block, which is the infrastructure building blocks across these uh, vertical technology stacks. So let's look at what we are trying to do here. So with the Apex Cloud platforms, as part of the cloud to ground strategy, we aspire to give our customers the choice, the consistency, and the control while they try and manage, while they try and bring the cloud operating principles to on premises. Now, from a choice perspective, the new Apex Cloud platforms are a turnkey solutions that allow our customers to simply extend the ecosystem of their choice between, let's say, Red Hat, Azure, and VMware to on premises. So what we're doing is we are announcing a series of these Apex Cloud platforms, which are co-developed, co-engineered in collaboration with Microsoft, Red Hat, and VMware, leveraging on our long-standing partnership for years of innovation with each of these vendors. Now, I spoke about the consistency, right? The common infrastructure building block. Now, each of the platforms are built on a common set of infrastructure from a Dell perspective, including the latest generation of servers. In fact, we've actually adopted 16th generation of servers to go with Apex Cloud platforms. So, in other words, they're extremely highly scalable in nature, high performance, software defined storage, all tightly integrated with the public cloud and Kubernetes orchestration stacks. Via what we have done is basically we have built that unique automated management orchestration software to go with it. So as a result, the customers today, adopting these, Apex Cloud platforms as part of a cloud to ground strategy, can achieve high levels of operational excellence, consistency outcomes, including the day one deployment, simplified operations and automated upgrades and lifecycle management as part of day two operations as well. So completely automated solution that we are trying to bring in irrespective of the technology or the ecosystem of choice that customers want to go with. Because we are trying to build that common infrastructure building block, it gives us the ability to do that full stack integration into a partner ecosystem software that will help accelerate the productivity and also reduce that skill gaps across these ecosystems. Remember in my previous slide where I spoke about we purpose built different platforms to suit into each of these cloud ecosystems. So which means it required different skilling and all of that, right? So what we're trying to do is we're trying to avoid that and bring a common set of governing principles irrespective of which technology stack the customer has adopted. And the most important thing as part of the consistency that I'm talking about is the software defined storage in the cloud platform that we're bringing, which is the SDS. It is the same SDS that we have announced for the Apex storage for public cloud as well. For example, the Apex block storage for public cloud, Azure and AWS. We're trying to bring the same SDS, compelling SDS solution even to these common infrastructure building blocks as part of the Apex Cloud platforms. So as a result, customers will be able to seamlessly extend across these multi-cloud ecosystems. So there won't be a need to rewrite an application workflow or to deal with the different underlying storage protocols because it's the same storage APIs that they have to deal with between on-premises and public cloud, because the storage, the Dell SDS storage is the same, storage APIs across these ecosystems. So that's from a consistency angle. From a control perspective, there's a very tight integration with each of these cloud stacks, which allow our customers to easily extend the security and the governance posture all the way from public cloud to on-premises deployments and management, orchestration. So the cloud platforms are designed to provide that end-to-end approach to built-in security, controls are all part of these, device hardware and firmware. They're all integrated, engineered together, and delivered as a single turnkey solution. From a customer standpoint, these, because of the high level of automation that we are trying to bring in as part of day one and also day two as part of the management and orchestration, so customers will have to spend less amount of time to actually manage these infrastructures while they can focus on business outcomes. So just to kind of, summarize, right, what we are trying to achieve or what we're trying to solve in terms of customers' problem. The Apex Cloud platforms can minimize the multi-cloud costs and complexity. It can bridge that cloud divide. Um, it helps to develop it. The strategy is something like, develop anywhere and deploy it everywhere kind of a concept. To unleash the true application value and the extend and enhance the overall control with layered security, with hardened security and governance and so on and so forth. So that is the goodness that we are trying to bring here. So if you look at the overall, if you look at the summary part of it, right, the overall ecosystem and the strategy seems as consistent and single pane of glass kind of an experience for customers. Many organizations are striving to achieve that. Is something that we are trying to bring that innovation through our Apex cloud offering, multi-cloud offerings, be it in the public cloud or on premises. All right, now just to put all of these different technology stacks in a single slide, right? So it kind of gives us a better picture. Now, the Apex Cloud platform for Microsoft Azure, that's my favorite one. In fact, I will have a separate episode on my YouTube channel focusing on Apex Cloud platform for Microsoft Azure. So stay tuned. But this is the first and only cloud platform that is collaboratively built to optimize that true Azure hybrid cloud experience for our customers today. It is going to be made available post second half of 2023. And again, same thing goes with Red Hat OpenShift as well. It's a first and only cloud platform collaboratively built to optimize that true leading Kubernetes distribution. In fact, Red Hat OpenShift is one of the leading container distributions out there. So that's something that we're going to make available as part of the second half of 2023. VMware, well, that's something that's been our long-standing partner as well. So that's something we are also bringing into VMware as well. Again, all three platforms will be made post second half of 2023. All right, now just to summarize. So we're calling this entire portfolio as part of ground to cloud and cloud to ground, the world's most comprehensive portfolio that actually targets and solves our multi-cloud challenges today, right? What are some of the challenges that we are trying to solve? The management complexity, the limited multi-cloud visibility that our customers have, unpredictable cloud costs, the skill gaps, and the lack of consistency across the public cloud, on-premises, and edge ecosystems. That's exactly what we're trying to solve today as part of some of the multi-cloud challenges which our customers are increasingly facing. So this is what we are, this is our very, very powerful statement coming from our chairman and CEO himself. So we are really, really excited what our multi-cloud portfolio has to offer to our customers and see how we can solve some of their challenges, in the near future. Again, thank you for watching. I hope you really enjoyed this episode. Please feel free to leave your comments and feedbacks. Please let us know if you want to learn more about some of these offers which we made at Dell Technologies World. Feel free to send me a message. I would be more than happy to have that conversation with you. Thank you for watching. Please subscribe to my YouTube channel, Giant on Cloud. Stay safe and I'll see you on the other side.